Now, we have probably all seen the statistics based on a lot of different kinds of maybe quasi-research that the average American household, which would be, a family of 3 or family of 4, the average American household has, on average, 300,000 items. Now, that's furniture, that's clothes, that's toys for the kids, that's kitchen utensils, that's pictures on the wall, whatever plants you have hanging around, old magazines, books. 300,000 is a large number. By contrast, the average European household has 10,000 items. So in America, we have 30 times more stuff than the average European. Our houses are bigger. It used to be our yards were bigger, but that's kind of gone the other way. And so what do you do with that stuff? That's the question today. And I'm going to give you an alternative plan if Marie Kondo just wasn't working for you. So obviously I'm standing here in my closet. Big shocker. Now, I am not the average American household. I am a single person living in what is considered to be an apartment who has already decluttered a ton of stuff. So I don't expect to have 300,000 items in my house, but I did count the items in my closet because this, without the bedroom furniture, obviously, and a few things that are in the side table drawers, this is what would be in my bedroom, is what's in this closet. And I just want to go through a few things with you. I'll put them up on the screen here as I am reading through them. I'm not going to read them all, but I'll put them all up on the screen. So I have 13 button-down shirts like the one I'm wearing. I have 11 other shirts that are hanging that are basically t-shirts or that kind of thing. I have 5 pairs of pants hanging up in here. I have 2 sport coats, 8 photo albums, 2 DVDs, 7 CDs, 21 books. I lied. I'm going to read them all. I have a Bible that I kept separate from the books. I have 2 picture frames in here that I'm not using anywhere. I have 4 ties, 2 sweaters, 5 jackets or hoodies for when the weather's cold or it's raining. I have 15 pairs of underwear. I have 10 undershirts. I have 9 pairs of socks. I have 2 pairs of pajamas. I have 2 pairs of swimming trunks. I have 1 pair of seal socks, which I take when I'm going photographing waterfalls and such because they're waterproof. I have 4 bins of assorted travel items. I did not count all of the items. I have 6 pairs of shoes. I have 1 belt, plus the belt I'm wearing. I have 3 travel bags. I have 1 pair of extra sheets for the bed. I have a weighted blanket. I have an iron, an ironing board, 1 image transfer piece of equipment that I got from my mom's husband, George. I have 2 baseball gloves, 10 packing cubes, 1 file cabinet, and 1 set of empty file folders. I did not count each individual folder. So in all, I have 141 items just in this closet. Now, that's not counting all the items that are in my kitchen or all the items that are in my photography studio or all the items that I've stored in the big closet behind me. It's just in this closet, this small enclosed space. Now, for a lot of people, Marie Kondo has been the guru of how to declutter. But I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that Marie Kondo probably resonates more with women than men. The whole idea of finding items that bring you joy and dealing with your emotions about particular things, that's more a woman trait than a male trait. Now, tear me up in the comments if you need to, but hear me out. A lot of people avoid the Swedish death cleaning model because they're not ready to accept yet the fact that they are finite. They're not ready to accept that I may actually be gone one day, and it may be sooner than I think, so I better prepare. Most of us in the United States do not prepare for the time after we're no longer here. So, what I'm going to talk about today may resonate more with men than women, even though the majority of the viewers of this channel are women. Maybe you want to share this with your husband. Several years ago, probably back in the 80s, one of the biggest business names of the day was Jack Welch. Jack Welch was, for a period of time, the CEO of General Electric, and he made General Electric into a powerhouse of manufacturing and sales. He was an expert leader. He was a great thinker, designer of systems, I should say. And he had a method. One of the methods that he used to better his employee pool was called the 20-70-10 method. And in the 20-70-10 method, every manager, the lowest level manager up to the top level manager, they had to look at the people directly under them once a year when it was time for evaluations and reviews. And they had to pick 20% of the people that were under them that they would keep no matter what it costs. They did not want these people to go to another company. They did not want them to be part of their competition. So they offered them whatever they felt like that person needed to stay, they would make an offer. More pay, stock options, a transfer to another spot in the country, maybe where their family wanted to live, a promotion, whatever it took. 20% every year, they identified 20%. And then on the other end of the spectrum, they had to identify 10% of the people who were just simply not cutting it. And they had to let go 10% of their employees every year. So you can imagine if you've got your top 20%, I'm going to try to put my hands in the screen here, so I'm going to look at the screen for a minute. But if you got the top 20% down to the bottom 10%, and you keep cutting the bottom 10%, the next year, some of those people in the bottom 10% used to be in that 70%, that middle thing that was like, okay, they can stay. They're not great, but they're not hurting us, so we can let them stay. And every year, as you cut more and more, the pool of people you have left are the very best you can find. And even when you have what would normally be considered everybody is top 20%, you still had to identify 10% to let go. It's cutthroat. It's competitive. And I think maybe something like that might attend more to some people to make decluttering a competitive, cutthroat sport devoid of emotion. I may be barking up the wrong tree. We'll find out. But in this room of 144, 141, what did I say I had? Let me go back again because I have them all at 141 items. So I would go through this room and I would identify 28 things. That's 20%. 28 things that no matter what, I would never consider letting them go. No matter what. I'm going to keep them regardless. One of those things might be as simple as this shirt. This has become my favorite shirt. I don't know why, but it is my favorite shirt. I would put it in that 28%. The photo albums that I have. Let me just pull this one up. This one is the photo album that we created in my first marriage when my first child was born. Even if I digitize all of those pictures, I'm probably not letting that photo album go. It's probably going to be one of my 28 items. Now, I will say, I have this box up here. This is all the pictures that I am digitizing at the moment, but I only counted this as one thing. It's a box. It's a photo album, okay? And then I need to keep a jacket. And I have 2 jackets, but this is the one that is most versatile and the one that most easily fits. It's a little small right now, but the other jacket is even a little bit smaller, and I've just sort of hung on to it because it's one of those one day I'll fit back in it things. Okay, so I need to keep a jacket. So that'd be one of my 28 things. And then as I'm looking around here, other things, I would have something like this rain jacket. It's a great rain jacket, but I'm not sure that it qualifies as being, I would never let this go because I may find something better and replace it at some point. Okay. So one of those, it's just some of those things that you have to go through. So the other thing then as a decluttering task is to identify 14 things, just 14 in this room that must go because they are contributing nothing to me. Now, let me show you one. One is this shirt. This is a pullover long sleeve shirt that I used to wear with my sports coats rather than wearing a shirt with a tie. But the thing about this shirt is it's too small. It doesn't look good on me unless I weigh about 30 pounds less. And it's one of those things that I've hung on to. But you know, in another video I talked about starting with all your clothes hangers turned around backwards. And then as you wear something, you turn it around. This has always been hung backwards. It has never moved. This would be one of my 14 items. Okay? I'll be decluttering later. So the other thing is, if I were to look around also, I have this weighted blanket. And I like this blanket, but it's too short. And I'm not sure that I could find one any longer. And so I used to use it a little bit. I rarely use it anymore. This would be one of my 14 items. I have this 2-drawer lateral file cabinet that has been sitting in this closet ever since I moved in. And it used to hold a lot of stuff. And right now, it basically holds those photo albums and a bunch of empty file folders. But you can see, if you look around, I've got plenty of shelf space to hold those photo albums. I don't need this 2-drawer lateral file, and it's big and it's bulky. It would be one of my 14 items that I would get rid of. Now, I'm not going to go through the process of decluttering at the moment in this video. I'm just telling you that I will be going through this closet and I will get rid of a few things. And I'm looking for 14 that I no longer need. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to come back in a few minutes and I'm going to tell you what I have decided on as my 14 things that absolutely must go. We'll be right back. Okay, so I have found 14 items that I am going to dispose of one way or the other. One of them, and I don't know if you can see it in the video right now, but one of them, of course, is this 2-drawer lateral file cabinet and all of the empty file folders that are inside it. So that's 2 items. 2 items. I'm going to get rid of this shirt that I talked about, so that's 3. I found 3 books that I'm going to let go. Somebody else will enjoy them. Stanley Tucci's book on taste. Great book, by the way. And then a novel that somebody sent me that I have read. I will pass that along. And because I'm no longer in education, I'm going to give up my Teaching Land book. It was written by a friend of mine, and the introduction I wrote for her. But I'm going to let that go as well. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 items. The image transfer thing, I'm no longer using this or even considering using it, so I'm going to let it go. That's 7. I have a pair of waterproof hiking shoes, and I have these hiking boots. I'm going to let the hiking boots go. So that's 8, I think. And I'm going to let the weighted blanket go. That's 9. So now we're down to, I have 2 pair of swimming trunks. I'm going to let one of those go. I have 2 light rain jackets. This one from Patagonia, I'm going to let go. I have another light jacket that I had that I got when I worked at Fulton High School. I'm going to let that go. I have a pair of waterproof pants that I bought to go to waterfalls. I have worn them. I've had them about a year. I've worn them a grand total of 1 time. I'm going to let that go. I have 2 pairs of gray dress slacks. I'm going to let the least favorite of those 2 go. Keep the one I like best. And then the other sports jacket, which I love. I love this sports jacket. But I have to be honest. I'm never going to fit in this jacket again, ever. Even if I lose the weight, I'm not going to fit in this jacket again. That's 14 things. 14 things that I can, out of 141, I can say these are the bottom 10% for me. And I can get rid of these, and I don't really even have to think about it. So if you're struggling with going through the emotional process of getting rid of things, does it bring me joy? Does it no longer bring me joy? Because you're not an emotional, feely kind of person, and that just doesn't appeal to you. And you're not quite ready to call it Swedish death cleaning yet, because you're not quite ready to admit that you are a finite human being. Maybe something like Jack Welch's 20-70-10 rule that was never meant for decluttering. I'm going to be honest. It was never meant for decluttering. It's meant for managing people. But it just sort of resonated to me as I was thinking about it, that maybe this is something somebody might be able to latch onto to help you make a more competitive, cutthroat decision devoid of emotion, to just help you get rid of a few things. Now, I started here in a closet. I don't recommend that you start in a room. I recommend that you start with one type of item. Not everybody has already culled their clothing down as small as I have. You may still have an entire closet full of clothes. And so, as a result, you may need to get a handle on just a quick count. What do you have? How many pairs of shoes? How many shirts? How many pants? How many dresses? How many blouses? How many skirts? Forget the underwear stuff. Just clothes. How many coats do you own? How many purses do you have? Just get a quick count and come up with what is 10% of that. And you might want to start with the 20%. What are my non-negotiables? What will I never get rid of? Ever. And, I could pretty easily go through and find 28 items in here that I would never let go. That really didn't do anything for this video. But find that 10% that's like, you know what, if I didn't have this anymore, I don't know that it would bother me. Make it a cutthroat, competitive process for yourself. And cut it. Delete it. Get rid of it. Move it. And just make little bits of progress along the way. You don't have to declutter your whole house tomorrow. You don't even have to declutter your whole closet in one day. Maybe you just want to do shirts and blouses. Maybe that's it. Just start there. Maybe it's just pants and skirts. Just start there. Where maybe, 'cause I have a friend of mine who moved out. She's going through a divorce, and she moved out of her house into an apartment, and she sent me a text message one day. She lives in another state, and she said, "Can you help me?" And she was overwhelmed with the amount of clothing she had. And so I said, well, send me some pictures of what you've got. So she had a closet much like this, and it was just crammed packed with clothing, front to back, and bags of clothing on the floor that she hadn't even unpacked yet. You couldn't breathe in this closet. And I thought, well, that's going to be a challenge, but we can start. And then she sent me a picture of her second bedroom where all of the other bags of clothes that couldn't fit in the closet were just lined up next to the bed. And I thought, okay, this is worse than I thought. And then she said, it doesn't count the bags I haven't taken out of the trunk of my car yet. I mean, this is one person with probably between 1,000 and 2,000 pieces of clothing. Nobody needs that. Nobody. But if you're having a trouble finding, it's easy sometimes with clothing because you just start with what doesn't fit anymore, what's out of style. Turn your hangers around backwards. Take 6 months. Figure out what you haven't worn yet. You could do that, but sometimes you just have to get started being cutthroat and say, I have to make a decision right now just to breathe. This might be a good way for you to do that. Let me know what you think in the comments if you've ever thought about trying something like this, or if you think this might appeal to you, or if you've got another method that you've used that's worked for you. We're all in this process together, and we can all learn from one another. It's always good to have you with us, and we will see you again next time.